Welcome students. In today's class we will discuss about population and economic development, how the population and economic development are correlated. We will discuss different headings. The first one is related to the significance of population for economic development, and this can be clearly explained through the given relationship. So what is that? That growth rate of GDP is the function of growth rate of population into growth rate of GDP per capita, where GDP per capita simply is the ratio of GDP divided by, you can say, the population. So Cobb-Douglas relationship provides another way to signify the population for the economic growth. The change in economic output is related to the change in capital stock, change in labor stock, and change in the state of technology. So the labor stock is very important, and it is what the basic of the population. So if you want to change in economic output, you have to change in the labor stock. So the population is going to be instrumental in this case. So what is important about the model of economic growth is that demography plays significant role, a key role in driving the growth in any economy. So this lecture is totally related. A key factor to economic prosperity is a growing working age population. That is, working age population. Yes, it is a very key factor, and we know that it is falling globally, while non-working age populations are growing. Right, and it is really placing the burden of here on those currently with the jobs. So you can say that slowly and steadily the working age populations are going to be overburdened. So and we know that for the economic development, this working age population is very important. Despite of declining workforce population, the global economy has grown significantly. And what was the reason? So the reason can be due to the advances in technology itself. And since 2008 financial crisis, year on year productivity growth has slowed, and an aging population combined with the declining birth rate is the major reason behind the drop in economic growth. But technological transition has maintained it up to a significant level, up to a certain level, resulting in increase in productivity. So we can say that after population, it is the technology which is a key feature of uh, productivity enhancement in the economy, and they will slowly replace the certain jobs, as we have observed that it has done already for the many areas. Coming to the Malthusian theory of population, it indicate that the population is growing with exponential rate, while the food supply is growing with the arithmetic rate. So the Thomas Robert Malthus believed that a balance between the population growth and food supply needs to be established, and it can be established through the preventive positive checks. What are the positive checks? These are the checks which are played by the nature, which is going to create a catastrophic impact over the population, and it occurs when the population is not under the control, and so the population is increasing vigorously. So in order to bring down the population at the level uh, which is compensatory with the level of available food supply, there is a need of positive checks in form of famines, earthquakes, flood, epidemics, war, etc. And you can say that uh, this COVID case is one of the uh, outcome of that. You can say positive check also. So preventive measures will be what you can say that it is the stage when we are preventing the outbreak or that outbreak of population or the population explosion, and for that we are doing some management practices. What kind of management practices can be like late marriages, self-control, simple living, help to balance the population growth and food supply? So, birth control kind of things are essential measures which can be considered as a preventive measures to avoid the population growth at the exponential rate and to prevent the catastrophic effect which we expect with the positive checks. Obviously, the technical transit and technological advancement has brought many control in the economic growth and has brought many changes in the economic growth. So, what is that? Either the birth rate needs to increase by a large amount or productivity needs to keep increasing. Means, what is that? Either birth rate needs to increase or productivity needs to keep increasing. So either of these two needs to be done so that you can say that the economic growth will sustain. So to grow the productivity, what is needed? The workers need to work harder. Technology must be advanced at every stage. Each worker is being allowed to contribute more economic output without sacrificing the quality of life. Technological progress, therefore, is important and lies at the heart of economy of the future. And the types of job that will employ the labor force, being able to effectively interface with technology. So the technological process is the key sector for the economic growth, the future development of economic, the types of jobs which will employ the labor forces. So this is one of the important thing, and many examples we can discuss, starting from the software programming, computer hardware, networking, and other facets of the IT sectors. So uh, we know that they are very important, and so the individuals who are not compatible for this are not considered to be suitable for the economic development of economy, and they will not fit for the new economic growth. We have seen many of the examples where the people have lost the jobs because of such kind of a technological advance. We can take care, like the jobs related to bank tellers, travel agents, stockbrokers, librarians, translator, tax accountants have been now lost, and they will not be supposed to come in future. TurboTax, the software which is being used to calculate the tax, and it is used to prepare the tax return. So now why the people will depend on the other individuals? So e-commerce, establishment of e-commerce, it is really very effective to take place the, you can say, the physical mode of you can say the business platform, and the peer-to-peer platform has become very important in order to, you can say, the loan transfer, and they have really removed the hotels, movie theaters, taxi drivers by creating alternative marketplace for those services and activities. So Google and universities around the world has also developed driverless cars, so obviously eliminating the need of driver in future. So 3D printing has also improved or resulted in improvements in robotic, has really changed the way how the products are manufactured and prepared in the companies. So companies have to rethink the need of the warehousing, managing excess inventories. So obviously these are going to accelerate the production process, and so the productivity will increase also. Another topic that we are going to discuss is natural and social economic determinants of population. So how population is going to increase naturally. So there are some points which needs to be taken care, and these points are what this natural and socio-economic determinants. The first one is the economic growth. So it is due to economic growth, the resources is going to be available to the people. So obviously uh, the purchasing power has increased, the ability to take care of the things has increased, and really it has improved the you can say the life expectancy. The per capita income has also increased, and it has a positive impact over the population. The education cost, obviously the cost of in education will be higher than the, it is obviously going to have a detrimental impact over the population growth. Fertility, obviously, if the fertility is going to be reduced, uh, so it is going to be big regulator of the population growth, and it is one of the indicator of that population growth. Another is the migration. So migration is what? It is the shifting of people from one place to another for the residential or occupational reasons. So migration, either it is in form of uh, immigration, or it may be emigration. So any of these kind of things where the inward flow of working forces or labor forces is going on, or outward flow is going on. So this is going to reallocate the human resources, and obviously going to disrupt the normal population growth. So these are the factors which are going to have a regulation over the population, and so can be called as natural and socio-economical determinant. Mortality is another one. Obviously the uh, mortality is going to be to regulate the population of any place, and it is going to be expressed in crude death rate and per thousand per year. So what is that? The mortality is going to be a vital determinant of population growth, as it indicates general health, living standard, economic conditions, nutrition, degree of development of the respective society. Life expectancy is another one, and we know that it is having a positive correlation with the economic development. And in the developed country, higher is the life expectancy, higher is the development. So you can imagine that it is 71.2 years for males and 78.6 years for females. While it is in developing countries, it is relatively low, 62.4% in for the male and 65.3% for the female. Another point that we have to discuss is demographic transition in India and population growth. So demographic transition in India can be divided into four stages. The first stage, we can say that it was up to 1920, when the birth and death rates both were very high, and because of the uncontrolled, you can say the natural calamities, and you can say positive check by the nature. The second stage, which was witnessed from 1920 to 1970s, and it was a phase where there is a decline in death rate, because we were effectively able to control the mortality due to the famine or epidemics, so that were brought under control. But this decline in death rate has increased the population growth rate, and especially between 1921 to 51. However, in 1971 onward, the demographic transition has passed through the third stage, which is still continuing. And this stage was corresponding to the decline in death rate, and at the same time there was a decline in birth rate also. So this has resulted in a plateau-like situation in 1960s to 1970s, because this both situation were running side by side in a parallel fashion, and so there is a constant situation. However, in 1980s and 90s, there was a faster decline in birth rate than the death rate, and which is still continuing at the present time. So, this is the phase where the population growth has been significantly checked out. In the fourth stage, which we expect from that we will enter in 2026, released expected dates when we can achieve the total fertility rate of 2.1, which is right now higher in many of the states like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, MP, Rajasthan, UP, Uttarakhand. So we expect that we will achieve by 2030 this in these states. However, we have already achieved this target in many of the states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and West Bengal. So we are expecting that we will be able to achieve overall till 2030. You can observe that what kind of trends in the various determinants is there right now. So crude birth rate and crude death rate both are being declining from 1920 when it was very high to the current level, where we observe that it is very low, and particularly death rate is quite low in comparison to the birth rate, and it is having very sharp slope in comparison to the birth rate. Similarly, when we are going for the uh, infant mortality rate, so uh, you can see that it is infant mortality rate, and you can say the postnatal mortality rate and natal mortality rate and neonatal mortality rate. All these three factors are going to decreasing, uh, where infant mortality rate has been reported with a sharp decline from 1970s to 2010 phase. If we are finding the trends of life expectancy, you can understand that from 1920s to 20 to the current status, it has been quite increased for the male as well as female, and you will observe that there is a very ups and downs, and at the present state the life expectancy of the female is higher than that of the male. So another the exponential growth rate and the population, you can find out that these are increasing from the past to the current stage, and we are expecting that it will not sharply grow, and this is what the different you can say demographic trends that has been reported in our country.